The South Pacific, the Caribbean, the edges of Latin America, for more than a century, this watery expanse has been Washington's backyard. But now a Chinese ship is set to slip into those waters. This is not a destroyer or a carrier. This is a hospital ship. It is called the CNS Silk Road Ark. On the face of it, it looks harmless, a floating ship making Goodwill stops. But the timing is suspect. As we speak, the US and Venezuela are engaged in a standoff, and now China is making an entry. So how is China involved here? What is their role? What is the message they're trying to send? Tonight, we'll break it down, starting with what we know about this Chinese ship. It was commissioned in 2024. It is basically a hospital ship. It has spent years zigzagging across Africa and Asia, treating tens of thousands of patients. In early September, it left for a new mission, the Harmony 2025 mission. As part of this, the ship will travel to South Pacific and Latin America. And what's the purpose? Well, according to China, and I'm quoting, this mission aims to strengthen friendly cooperation between China and relevant countries. And why is this news? Because this region is a powder keg right now. Tensions between the US and Venezuela are high. The US has dispatched a squadron of warships. Officially, it's about combating drug cartels, the groups that move cocaine and other narcotics across the Caribbean and North America. The American action apparently is to counter those. But Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says that this is not about drugs. This is about regime change in his country. He has called the American warships a threat. He says Washington is trying to destabilize his government. So he has mobilized his army. Maduro has called millions of reservists to defend the homeland. Last week, the US carried out a strike. It blew up what it called a Venezuelan drug boat. The attack killed 11 people. Days later, Washington upped the stakes again. It deployed F-35 fighter jets to Puerto Rico. US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth even visited a US warship in the Caribbean.
To the sailors.
Venezuela has not hit back yet, but it says everything is fair game. It has asked the US to abandon plans of regime change in Caracas.
The government of the United States should abandon its plan of violent regime change in Venezuela and in all of Latin America and the Caribbean and respect sovereignty, the right to peace, to independence.
Basically, things are escalating between the US and Venezuela, and in the middle of it, this Chinese ship is sailing in. Beijing says this mission was planned before, and it's just a hospital ship. But in geopolitics, coincidence is often choreographed. Because here is the heart of the matter. Venezuela survives on Chinese oxygen. This country runs on oil exports. Nearly 90% of Venezuela's crude goes to China. Over the last 2 decades, Beijing has lent Caracas more than $60 billion, $60 billion. So for Maduro, China is not just a partner, it is the only major power willing to do business with him. And the Venezuelan president made it apparent when he flaunted his Chinese phone.
Impressive. I find out everything through this. The phone that Xi Jinping gave me. Look, Xi Jinping gave me this, a Huawei, the best phone in the world, the Huawei, and the Americans can't hack it, neither their spy planes, nor their satellites.
So what happens next? Well, 3 scenarios loom. 1, escalation. The war rhetoric escalates, dragging the region into crisis. China watches carefully, perhaps offering Maduro moral support, but staying out of the line of fire. 2, a stalemate. Washington keeps up the pressure, Caracas keeps up the bluster, and the Silk Road Ark cruises from port to port. 3, China plays mediator. It is the least likely but the most interesting scenario. Beijing has leverage over Venezuela's oil, so it is uniquely positioned to nudge Maduro into talks. But would Xi Jinping spend political capital to play peacemaker in America's hemisphere? Well, that's the big question. As of today, this is where things stand. The US still commands the Caribbean military, but China is planting seeds. For Washington, it means headaches. For Latin America, it means options. And for Venezuela, it means survival.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka kaiju.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
4兆ドル以上も
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select a language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.